It is a great joy and honor to come into your homes and your minds with a message of empowerment and enlightenment. This is Emmanuel Mensah, a co-founder of the Eagle Mentality Group. At the Eagle Mentality Group, we teach and propagate information about the power of thought and universal laws and how these laws and our thinking comes together to create our realities. All human beings, every human being is creating his or her realities. And therefore, it is about time you become awakened to this truth and take control of your thinking. You are the only owner of your mind, and you are the only custodian of your mind. And therefore, what you use your mind for is what your life will mirror. It's as simple as that. Anyway, that is not what we are talking about. This is just by the way, or as a way of opening my conversation. Today, we are going to continue with our conversation that we'll be having over the past weeks. I have spoken about a lot of things, looking at the Ghanaian system or economy or system, the Ghanaian political and social structure. And I've spoken about a lot of things, right from local governance through to housing, the use of military to train paramilitary units to develop and maintain roads and bridges in the rural areas, and all kind of things. Yesterday I spoke about local governance, the reason why the roles of the district chief executives and the municipal chief executives are not needed. Practically, what we call the presiding assembly member of every assembly should be the chief executive or the mayor of that area. That is what it's supposed to be. They are elected people that have been elected, or that person is an elected person in the assembly that has been chosen by his peers to lead them. That is how it is done in the developed world. Anyway, today we are moving out of this into another region or another area. And this is one of the areas that Africans in general and Ghanaians in particular will always have excuses to say or to defend the reason why they must not do that, and that is taxes. And so today I'm going to speak to you about the need for the paying of tax, why everyone in the country has to pay tax. But before we go on, I just want to take this opportunity to appeal to you that if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please click on the subscribe button and subscribe to the channel such that you will get update as we upload our content. If you have already done that, we also want to say we thank you. Let us continue to listen and share the content such that we'll be able to generate greater awareness for us to team up to build a better Africa, a better Ghana, you see. And so we are looking at this. But before we go that, I also want to appeal to you that if you believe, or if this message, what we are doing at Eagle Mentality resonate with you, please, and you want to be part of it, or you want to contribute in any way, any form to this project, you are free to do so. So if you want to do that, please leave a comment in the comment section, and we will pick it from there, especially if you are in the greater Toronto area and you want to be involved in this physically. Our doors are open, and if you leave a comment in the comment section, I will connect with you from that side. So having done this, now let us move on to our topic for today. And so today we are looking at the quest for uniform and sustainable development in Africa using Ghana as a study. And so today we are looking at the tax system, taxation. Taxation is very important. As a matter of fact, those of us that have traveled to the advanced world, we are witness to what taxes are doing in these nations. Those of you that are only seeing pictures, videos about how any of these advanced cities are well organized, developed, even their towns and villages, that is the work of the taxes. You see, so when you take the whole world and you analyze it critically, regardless of the resources that any nation has, if they don't have a proper tax system, that nation is underdeveloped. Believe it or not. All the nations now forms the OPEC, which is the oil producing company or whatever, OPEC, all of them are underdeveloped nations. But they are contributing more in oil. The producers of cocoa, Ghana and Ivory Coast, we are the leading nations, we are underdeveloped. The producers of gold and all those things, we are underdeveloped. But nations in Europe and North America, that they don't even consider this as the major source of income, they have their cities and everything well developed. Why is it so? The difference is not about the resources they have necessarily, but the difference is having a proper tax system and making sure that the ordinary person understands his role and why he should honor his tax obligation. Local administrations depend largely on taxes. And therefore, when you go to any city, when you go to any town and you see things are well laid, they have their parks, you go to the city center, they have shopping mall, they have this and that and that and that. That is the work of the taxes of the people through the local administration. And so if you look at Ghana and Africa, we don't even have a tax system. Apart from those who are working in the government and other public sectors, and as teachers, nurses, and all those things, all the people in Ghana don't pay tax. Even those who are in business, they will find ways to evade taxes, because the African don't have the concept of the concept of taxation, and the African doesn't have the concept, the understanding that there is a price attached to development. And the one who foot the bill, who pays the price, is the citizen. And therefore, if you are in a nation, or if there is a nation that about 70 to 80% of its citizens are not paying tax, that nation is destined to be poor, regardless of the natural resources that they may have. And that is what we are seeing in third world countries, underdeveloped nations. We predominantly depend on natural resources. Therefore, no one thinks of how to organize a tax system in such a way that everyone in the nation will contribute. It is the money that is collected through taxation that is used to develop the area. And then, if it is not enough, the local authorities receive grants from the national government to support it. And I'm saying this with authority because I know it, I've experienced it. You see? And so when we talk of taxation, as soon as you mention taxes to any African Ghanaians, the first thing they will say is that even if they pay the tax, those in power will embezzle it. But as a matter of fact, there is a principle, and even it is in the Bible, that train the child, your child, the way you want him to go, and when he grows, he will not depart from it. The leaders, all African leaders, and those who are yet to come, were not born and raised by Europeans, were not born and raised by Asians, were not born and raised by any human being living in any other part of the universe. They were born and raised based on the African tradition, based on African values. And therefore, if we have people who goes into power and they are ready to embezzle the state funds, then it means it is the value, it is the training that they've received from their society that they are demonstrating. So the leaders are not different. The one who embezzle state funds is not different from the one who evade tax, the one who protests paying tax because he thinks other people will embezzle it. So it's a kind of a web, you see. But when we begin to take the necessary steps to infuse taxation in our educational system, right from the early childhood, we educate children the need for the payment of taxes and the need for citizens to protect the coffers or the national funds for the betterment of all. Those young or those people will grow up to be people who understand why they should pay tax and who understand why they need to protect the national funds. But you can't leave all these things down. We are only talking about religious morals. We talk about this, we talk about this, we talk about this, but we don't instill principles into our own self, our own lives. Our children are just being taught that go to church and pray, go to the mosque and pray. But these are morals. These are religious morals, and most people easily go over it. But a child that has been trained on principle, at any point in time when he's tested, he will stand on his principle and he will do what is right. And so there is the need for us to have tax system. And the way we have to do it to begin to infuse the taxation, teaching of younger people, younger ones, why they need to pay tax. Even in our churches and our religious organization, we have to do that. The churches are using the tithes payment to gather millions of money for the betterment of their leaders and others. Why can't we use the same method to introduce tax system into our younger ones so that they will grow to become adults, that they will honor their tax obligations? And the way people protect church money, not other people don't embezzle it. If we have the same people in positions at all government levels, they will protect the government money or the nation's money. You see, so taxation is necessary, and for any nation to develop such that there are basic amenities, basic infrastructure everywhere, that there will be uniform development, the nation must have a certain form of taxation, right from the local administration to the national level. It is only when we do that, then we can develop our towns and communities. And as I've always been doing, I always compare UK. And as a matter of fact, I've lived in the UK for about 10 years to 15 years to 12 years. So I know exactly what I'm talking about. If you are in the UK, my brothers and sisters who are in the UK, who are in the diaspora, even Canada, US, Germany, you are a witness to this. All their towns and cities are not developed because of this kind of things that they have or whatever, their technology necessarily, but it's because there is a steady flow of income, which is through taxation. And therefore, those in power at the local level are able to initiate projects and then carry them out and bring things into the life of the people. So the people see the effects of what they are paying. And this is what we need. And as a matter of fact, local administrations are basically predominantly financed by taxation. And in England, they have council tax and basic rates. Council tax are taxes that all homeowners pay to the local administration. It is this money that they use to maintain almost all the amenities and infrastructure in the area. It is part of the money that they use to finance the local police service and other things, you see. So when you go to any part of UK and you see it that everything is well laid, things that there are parks, there are this and that, and you want your children to enjoy. That is how they created it. It is not about the selling of their technology or whatever they have. Those things come in, but those source of funds only give the national government a position to be able to support them all over. But the beginning of it is the collection of tax, mobilizing funds locally and to use it for the projects. And then the national government comes to supplement, you see. And even if we are to look at the whole Ghana, there is not even a proper tax system, as a matter of fact. And it is an indictment on the people who goes about carrying their portfolios, their titles that they are professors, they are this and that in economics, in accounting. For the whole of the time that Ghana has become an independent, no government, no group of people that have been able to come out with a simple tax system in such a way that the ordinary men and women who are not doing 9-to-5 jobs will also find a way to contribute to the development of their area. No government. So if you take Ghana as it is now, about 70 to 80% of the population don't pay tax. But that is not how to run a nation. If you come to the UK, if you go to any part in the developed world, even if you buy common water, you pay tax on it. If you whatever you have. So every petty trader or local shop, they run what we call cash registry. And it is through this small collection of cents, pennies, and whatever that they use, comes together, it becomes a mountain of funds that they will use to develop the area. You see? And so we need to structure everything that we have. But first, we have to first get even a tax system. A tax system in such a way that every able person in Ghana will pay a certain form of amount as a development levy in his locality. Let's just take it like this way. If looking at the Ghanaian population, if every person, able-bodied man or woman, pays $10 a year, 10 cedis a year, as what we call developmental levy, multiply this by that number of Ghanaian population and take away older people and children and disabled people, it is a huge chunk of amount that this money could be used to develop the localities. All these things are lying down, but the Ghanaian and Africans lack the ability, the capability to have to find ways to mobilize the funds. Those who are doing petty trading in the various markets and that they are making more money, there is no any proper strategic way to take money or to tax them. And therefore, what you see is that you go to Accra, you go to the Makola market and the places, you see people walking around with booklets that they are taking, they are collecting taxes. This system is something that was created colonial times, long time ago. By now, those market women and all those people doing the monetary trading, the government at the local levels should have come out with a system such that they even help them to get better places to sell their things. They pay taxes on the property that they are selling, and then that becomes source of income to develop the area. This is how the Westerners are doing to develop their areas. So to pay a tax is not anything bad. To pay a tax is not anything bad. But it is an obligation that you are honoring. And if whoever pay it and pay it faithfully will be blessed, and his nation too will be blessed, you see. And so what we see is that, as a matter of fact, even if you go to the ordinary people, especially Christians in Africa are the most dishonest people. Believe it or not, Christians in Africa are the most dishonest people. Most Christians will skip or will evade tax, but they will pay their tithes and collection faithfully. And if you are in a nation, you live both in your secular and in your religious sectors. It's a balanced scale, you see. And therefore, if you honor God, that's why Jesus Christ said, give what is Caesar's to Caesar and give what is God to God. It's a balanced scale. And so if you are a Christian or if you are a religious person and you only honor your religious duty, which is God, and you don't honor what is Caesar, you are a dishonest person. And therefore, if there is a group of people that must stand to actually advocate and come out with the ways and means to collect revenue to develop the area, then it might be those in the religion, because we have to obey the rules. You see, Jesus Christ laid out this principle that give what is Caesar to Caesar and give what is God to God. So if you pay your tax and you evade taxes, you got no blessings. You are a dishonest person, as a matter of fact. But as it is now, Africans will use all that they have to pay taxes and offerings, and then they will resist to the latter for the idea of paying the taxes. Then they turn around and ask the government for this and that and that. The most interesting thing is that you go to places, you see church auditorium with state-of-the-art equipment, everything, but it's in the bush. No roads, no facilities leading there. People walk around it. People only walk there. It doesn't make sense. And so there is the need for a proper tax system, both from the local level to the national level. And as a matter of fact, If as far as the universities are concerned, it will remain an indictment and a stigma on anyone that calls himself economist, accountant, or any of these things until someone come out with a tax system such that we are able to use it to mop up national resources from the lower level to the higher level. It does not matter how much a citizen pay, but it is the little that each and everyone drops into the coffers that grows. And when we do that, we will also find a way to enforce accountability and responsibility on those who are the custodians of the funds. You see? And so Ghana would never develop. Africa, none of the African countries would develop to a level of a middle-level nation where the living conditions or the state of the condition of the people will even get to a middle-level nation. It will never happen. It will never happen, because what we are doing is that the national government, we only pay attention to the national government. The national government comes, they are putting up structures, roads, they are putting up bridges, big time projects all over. But when you descend into the rural areas, you descend into the communities, people are living in poor and dilapidated houses, no roads, nothing is happening. You see, even the pipe-borne water, previously most of the towns used to have pipe-borne water. All the systems are broken down because there is no way to maintain it. These are what your taxes are supposed to be used for. And so be open to the payment of taxation. And as a matter of fact, an honest Christian, an honest religious person is the one that pays his tax and pays his tithes. If you pay your tithes and you're not paying your tax, you are a dishonest person. Because Jesus Christ laid out the rule that give what is Caesar's to Caesar and give what is God to God. And so it is an obligation. And therefore, if your government is not able to give you that opportunity, it is time for you to begin to ask them. You see, there is a price attached to the development that we are looking for, the improvement and the quality of life that we are looking for. There is a price attached to it. And it is you, the ordinary, it is you, the citizen, that must pay. You have to pay it. And therefore, it is time for us to become awakened. It is time for us to become awakened to this fact that we are the key, we are the architect of our lives. And we will take the center stage of our lives. And we will not allow people to throw us up and down. All the promises that your politicians are giving, I'm not against anyone, but I'm just telling you the truth. None of them will be able to provide the things that they are promising. And as a matter of fact, the things they are promising you, that is not even what you need. If the government just come to construct one simple road in your area, in 2 to 3, 4 years time, the road is gone bad. And it will take 10 to 20 years before another government will come and repair it. What kind of life is that? Ask yourself. But if you want to see a steady and even a higher level of life, then you must be ready to ask your government that instead of all these things, let us have a proper structure so that all of us will contribute a quota into the national coffers or the local administration coffers, so that the local authorities, those in power, will use it to develop our area. That is what is done everywhere. And that is why, for me, it is a universal truth. No, it's not even for me. That is how it is done in the advanced world. These political appointees that are being given all these rules to manage the districts and the municipalities, those things have to be scrapped. Those things have to be scrapped. The mayor of Accra has to be an elected person. And the mayor of all the sub areas within Accra must be an elected person to that assembly, and who has been elected by his fellows, his peers. These are the people that, if they are not performing, you can vote them out. You can vote them out. So if a particular political party comes in power and they stay there for 24 years, let's just take it out. Even they stay on for it's 4 years. If they stay on for 3 terms, 12 years, And a district chief executive or municipal chief executive is appointed, and is only dancing to the tune of the tune of the song of the president, his political party. He remains there. There will be no development over there. The people cannot actually even kick him out, because there is no elections until the national elections comes and maybe the party loses. That is not how it's supposed to be. Development in the local areas must continue, regardless of who is in power at the national level. That is how it's supposed to be, you see. And so this is what you need to wake up. Taxes is very important. Your obligation to your tax, your tax obligation is as important as your tithes. The tithes that you are paying to your churches or whatever. It is the same. And actually, Jesus Christ made that statement very emphatically. It is in the Bible that give what is Caesar's to Caesar and give what is God to God. What are you giving to the nation? What are you giving to? It's not about the cocoa. It is not about the gold. It is not about the oil. All these things will not bring any improvement in your life. Because the prices of cocoa, the prices of oil, the prices of all these things are determined by what is happening on the international market. And we don't even have the technology. We don't even have the technology to mine all these things. So before these things are processed, a greater percentage of it is gone to where the technology is coming from. But if we have a proper tax system, however bad it is, however difficult it may be with citizens, we can contribute some little. We gather those little drops of water, comes together to form a mighty ocean. We gather them, we use them to develop our lives. And as things become okay, things become better on the international level, that the central government is able to get more money from our whatever we are selling, then the money will come and we'll have more at the local level to do higher projects in the local area. That is how it is done. A word to a why is enough. This education is being provided to you, the ordinary person. I am not speaking to the president of Ghana or the president of any African leader, every African nation, but I am speaking to you, my fellow ordinary African. Let us rise up. And it is only when you know what you expect. It is only when you know what you are demanding from your leaders, then you'll be able to make the right demand. And if necessary, you are better and qualified to also be the leader. That one day when you become a leader, you stand and do the right thing. That is the purpose of this education. And I know there are a lot of people who are thinking in the same way as I am thinking. A lot of people who are in the same frame of mind, who have been exposed to all these things that I'm talking about. I am not the only person that has traveled to the advanced world. There are people who have been here years before I even came. There are people who are even doing higher jobs, businesses, and that have a reputation than I do. But everyone and his calling, and my calling is to bring this to you, regardless of my background. But what I'm telling you is that all those high people that I'm talking about, they know what I'm saying is true. And if they will be honest, they will uphold it. So a word to a wise is enough. That is my message for you. Together, we can mobilize the resources within our local areas to develop our towns, to develop our cities, to develop everything that we have, such that children, adults will enjoy a life that they've never tasted before. All these things must be done with a purpose and determination. That's my message for you. Now, before I sign off, I just want to remind you once again, please click on the subscribe button and join us, circulate the message, and let us build this community. And together, Africa and Ghana will rise to its rightful place. If you want to be involved in this project physically, if you are in Canada, Toronto area in particular, you can leave a comment you can leave a note in the comment section, and I will connect with you for us to pick it from there. Apart from that, I say thank you very much and have a wonderful day. Keep on dreaming, keep on living as an intelligent, empowered person. Thank you, and God bless you.